My name is Mike Weidemann, and my wife Vaughn and I have been attending St. Philip for about 6 years, having been lovingly welcomed into the little church with the big heart. We support it because we believe so strongly in its ministry, both inside and outside of the congregation. But today, I hope you'll indulge me while I tell you a little bit about my past. I started my working career selling packaging to industry for the Kerr Glass Manufacturing Corporation, the company that made the canning jars many of you may remember. Alexander Kerr, the company's founder, believed strongly in tithing and wrote in the family Bible his pledge to tithe from profits before taxes. In 1906, much of the company's inventory was stored in San Francisco when the great earthquake hit. Mr. Kerr was sure that his business had been wiped out until a cable arrived a couple of days later proclaiming that the glass plant had been miraculously spared, despite devastation all around it. He attributed that good fortune to his trust in God, and for years until the company went public, Kerr included a little pamphlet called The Tither in every case of home canning jars. I grew up in a family business that my grandfather had started, distributing fuel oil, gasoline, lubricants, and tires to homes, farms, and businesses in and around our small town in Wisconsin. While I was in college, Grandpa suffered a debilitating stroke, and although my parents tried to keep the company going, it eventually became the better part of wisdom to sell it. The company that bought it didn't want all of the receivables, so after the sale, my mother set about recovering what she could from those who owed us money. The stories she heard of her father's generosity were astounding, like the one from the single mom trying to keep her farm going and rear a couple of kids, who told her how Grandpa had helped her through tough times by continuing to supply her heating oil when she couldn't pay, and even occasionally sending her a check for $100 to help her get by. Or the gas station owner whose business had burned down, who had just let his insurance lapse and didn't know how he'd be able to rebuild. Grandpa said he needed him as a customer and told him to go ahead and rebuild and send him the bills. They'd settle up later. So you see, I've had some really good examples of generosity in my life. And when I look around me and see all the wonderful gifts God has given us, this beautiful creation, the means to provide food, clothing, shelter, and a few extras, a loving partner in life, music and art, knowledge and understanding, and the sense of belonging and community I find at St. Philip, I can't help but trust Him and be grateful and generous in return. One final story. I went through a period when I was unemployed several times, at least once for an extended duration. We had been tithing and continued to do so from my unemployment checks, even though money was really tight. As it turned out, God did bring us safely through, and we didn't lose our house or car, and we kept our family together. Like Alexander Kerr, I attributed my well-being to God's grace. And like my grandfather, it continues to make me feel blessed to express my gratitude through generosity. May it be so for you.